This is the best demo I have ever played in my entire life. It is just so full of cool combat and crazy bosses and new game mechanics to show why Rebirth is better than Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is just a gloriously good time, and this demo took me an hour and a half to finish, which is completely insane to consider because this is a chunk of the final game that they're just serving to us on a silver platter. But let's talk about that. Hi, I'm DreamcastGuy, and honestly, I'm a complete Final Fantasy fanatic. I beat the games over and over again, I get platinum trophies, I really enjoy this universe, but specifically, FF7 is my favorite game of all time. I just think it's downright perfect, and so I've been incredibly curious about this Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy to see how they handle particular events, how they change and update a classic story for modern audiences, and this demo definitely proves to me why these games are going to keep getting bigger and better. So this is entirely the Nibelheim flashback. In the original FF7, after escaping Midgar, the characters get a chance to catch their breath and do an extended flashback to talk about the glory days of Sephiroth and Cloud, back when they were in Soldier and battling basically against monsters and doing missions for Shinra. Now this demo is really big. For a lot of the gameplay, you're going to see that I decided to fight as Sephiroth because to me, it's incredibly freaking cool to actually be playing as Sephiroth. But let's start off there. Let's actually talk about the combat and what makes it feel, well, quite a bit different than the original game that we got with FF7 Remake 4 years ago. So this game is incredibly good at trying to basically keep you locked into the action. Of course, old school Final Fantasy was turn-based, and they tried to tread that line of making it so this is still tactical, it's still about magical weaknesses and last-minute limit breaks and stuff, but at the same time, it does feel quicker. You can change combat stances, you can switch characters, you can knock enemies over and try and hit their weak points for extra triple damage and stuff, but this feels a bit more quick. Just in general, it feels like they sped up combat, they sped up dodges, they sped up parries, and now specifically they've added in this completely new mechanic called synergy attacks, where two people in your party, if you have control of both of them, can do a special strike together. Now, of course, in this I only have access to Sephiroth and Cloud, but in the trailers they've shown special attacks between Barret and Cait Sith and all sorts of different cool characters. So it's interesting to watch how these boss fights actually require you to do it. The demo ends with a very big, very dramatic fight against a Materia Guardian, and this dude is definitely tough. I mean, you can see that it's basically Guard Spider from FF7 Remake, but even more sturdy. And while you're doing these synergy attacks, while you're switching between the two characters to free them from enemy claws or try and hit a big special strike, I feel like all of this feels very refined. I love the combat in FF7 Remake, but this definitely feels even more accessible. On the topic of general gameplay though, and not just combat, they've added in a lot more vertical exploration. It looks like we're going to be able to climb surfaces and not just ladders. You can scale up walls, hop over ledges, you can actually explore the ecosystem and environment because they've straight up said this is going to be open world. It's going to have big chunks of the map. They've already showed the world map and it's very big. You're going to get a chance to hop on stuff or climb things. Each of the characters will have different modes of traversal, so some of them will have grapple hooks and all sorts of extra abilities to get on top of or under stuff. This demo definitely displayed that to a degree. It's kind of cool to be walking around the mountains of Nibelheim, Mount Nibel, and actually see how this area is just so sucked dry by the Mako reactor. Now, I want to talk about the story, and I want to talk about, just in general, how good this freaking looks. Obviously, the very best part of Final Fantasy VII, the original and the remake, is just the incredibly cool plot. The idea of these freedom fighters battling to try and save the planet from Sephiroth and evil corporations. And it's really cool to see how they're reimagining that. A lot of these scenes of Sephiroth slowly losing his mind. Of course, the famous scenes of the burning of Nibelheim, which is still just incredibly, breathtaking to behold. But beyond that, I think the voice acting, the extra lines of dialogue, they've taken the very best, most memorable moments from the original game and just made them even better. They're literally improving my favorite game of all time, which just feels insane to say. Additionally, they did release these Final Fantasy VII books. They actually reference this stuff in the demo. You actually see the characters and stuff from the book, which to me is kind of cool as a Final Fantasy super fan. Graphically, though, this is just jaw-dropping. Now, FF7 Remake was originally released on the PlayStation 4 and then ported to the PlayStation 5 for the Intergrade version, but this is the first time we're seeing Final Fantasy VII made for the PlayStation 5, and they straight up said that this makes it a lot easier. Like, the console itself is graphically powerful, but with the power of the SSD, they can make stuff incredibly quick frame rate, load environments instantaneously, have so much on screen at once, and all of it just crystal clear. I know it's probably a little bit of just marketing speak, oh, the power of the PlayStation 5, but honestly, looking at it, the game is just glorious. This entire demo, all 90 minutes of it, my jaw was just on the floor. Overall, I gotta say that the entirety of this demo is exactly what it's trying to be. It's selling the game itself. It's partially a tutorial as to how the game itself is going to work. It's got a cool bonus where if you beat the demo, it carries over some of the items and progress to the main game. And beyond that, I think it's just a great demonstration as to how this game is going to be darker, bigger, and even more chaotic than FF7 Remake. I am definitely going to be playing Rebirth Day 1. If somebody at Square Enix sees this video, hey, send me a review code. I would love to do a deep dive on the game itself and platinum it before anybody else in the world. But what do you guys think about it? Are you excited about FF7 Rebirth? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. These have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts because honestly, I'm so blown away by it. But I want to know what you guys think of it. Tell me what you believe in the comments down below, and if you could, please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. I still can't believe Final Fantasy VII Remake was so good. The original game is just so perfect, and Rebirth is somehow upping the bar even more. Whatever the third game is going to be, it's going to just be beyond all comprehension. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.